Hey Becca, how are you
Oh my
doing? How
God.
are
Hey, Mia.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm stoked
You
we're going to be doing
know,
your bike check today.
I
Pretty
am so
good.
stoked to be talking about my bike. I love my bike. I love my bike so much.
She's
Such a labor of
beautiful.
love. Yeah, she cute. Such a labor of love for me to get
It's awesome.
such a labor of love for me to get to this point. It definitely wasn't something that happened overnight at all. And it cost many, many, many monies, but I have no regrets whatsoever, and
No regrets.
no regrets,
No
no
regrets.
regrets. I love it.
So for those of you listening and or watching, Becca has an amazing 2022 Trek Slash 7 in a
Mhm.
medium, right? Medium frame because you're what, 5'8"?
I'm
5'8"?
5'7", so I have a medium frame,
Yep.
and so it is the /7 frame, but everything else
It's
is
custom,
not
baby.
7, is not a 7. And I can
Yeah,
tell you
so
why I decided to go to the aluminum, but if I don't know, do you want to fit? Is this
yeah,
do you
we'll
do I
get
need to
there.
let
We'll
do I
get
need to let
there.
you lead in more at this point?
Sure. I'll
Okay.
ask you the questions.
This is it. This is edited. This is edited question right now. Okay.
No, we'll just keep it going. I mean, it's good for people to see the process. And
Okay.
plus, we get along so well that,
We
let's
do.
just keep it going.
I'm good. That's cool.
Okay, so you're saying everything in your bike is custom, pretty much,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you got the
Yes.
frame. So tell us, did you buy the frame itself or did you buy like a complete bike and then you change the components on it?
Yes. I did that. So I bought a complete build of a /7
Hmm.
2022 for the frame alone. All I wanted on it was the frame. That was it. But there were no aluminum frames in stock through
Ooh.
Trek, or pretty much anywhere. And I really needed to ensure that I went with aluminum because I can't be trusted on carbon, like at all. And I learned that the very, very expensive way.
Wait. Did you break a carbon frame?
I broke a
Oh,
carbon seat stay, and that was enough of a
holy
warning for
shit.
me.
I mean,
That was
pardon my
enough of a
French.
warning for me.
I will
Yeah.
mute that S word. But see, this is why I won't do carbon wheels because I think I'm going to crack those suckers too.
I have
Keep
carbon
going.
wheels, but the cool thing, okay, all right. So I I have many, as we've kind of previously discussed, many unintended encounters with the ground. And I'm fine with that. So there's lots of times that I'm going to
Nothing
crash.
wrong with that, my friend. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it doesn't, I'm in like, and that'll be a later conversation. But no, that's fine for me. But what I have learned is that my bike isn't always okay with it. Um,
Fair.
so having a very expensive encounter with the ground with such a dumb accident that broke a carbon seat stay was 600 plus dollars.
Holy
Yeah.
cannoli.
Yeah, and I have a really, really excellent local shop that takes very, very good care of me. It is a Trek retail shop, but I know them very, very well. And that was, it has nothing to do with the warranty, nothing. This was clearly an accident that occurred. The brake was because
Yeah.
I crashed. It wasn't a manufacturer's defect, so it couldn't have been claimed under warranty.
Right,
And
right.
I wound up having this long conversation with the lead mechanic there who kind of created this whole idea for me to get an aluminum frame bike but still keep all my high end components. And that was exactly what I set out to do because I loved the really really nice dialed in components that I had on my carbon build. So I was trying to figure out what's the best way that I can do this. And
Yeah.
what we basically decided to do was to create this like Frankenstein bike and we call it the monster. I mean, the mechanic that helps me build it, we call it the monster. And
Why?
my friend,
Because
because it's just this hodgepodge of everything I want, and I love it. And it also gave him a lot of trouble when he was building it.
but that's a
So
custom bike though. I mean, if you're going to put
it
custom
is.
components on it.
It is. And I feel like just in the last, I don't know, 6 weeks, I really have everything exactly the way I want it to be. So
That's
I bought a
awesome.
complete 7 build because that was all that was available. And then I took all of those base base, like kind of stock components off, stripped it
Yep.
down in the frame, and then basically rebuilt it from there.
That's amazing.
So
That's so cool.
it
So
was a process.
yeah, I've got a custom bike too. I understand, but so my question to you is with the aluminium, and yes, people, I am from
Oh
Australia. I
God, here we
say
go. Yeah, here we
aluminium.
go.
I do not say aluminum.
Aluminium.
Aluminium. And yes, we spelled it. We spell it aluminium. Yeah. Anyway,
You
that's a
just
whole
said
thing.
spelt it. You just said spelt it, but that's all right.
I mean, I speak the Queen's English. That's how we say things. We put U's and T's and everything.
Spelt it. If I do that, Mia, if I put T's and U's and things, I get called like white trash. So it's not the same.
You're not. Anyway, English is my
I
second
seen
language. Does
it.
that help
See?
that? I always say that English is my second language. Like
I
I
guess
always,
so.
that's my cop out. That's always anyway. So the aluminium frame. Have you
Yes.
noticed a huge difference in give? Because carbon tends to be a little bit more forgiving, right? Like, is it a stiffer ride, or have you
Yeah,
noticed that?
so no, I've heard different things. The biggest difference that I noticed was that my carbon frame was actually a size medium large. I bought it off a pink bike
Okay.
from someone that I knew. So
Okay.
I had to trust it. It was someone that I, had a direct connection with, that I could whatever trace the lineage and
Keep it in the family.
exactly. And I went with a medium large on that one. There was when I bought that bike, there was nothing. There's absolutely nothing out there. And I'm 5'7". I'm not like super petite, like it felt great. But as I began kind of barreling down mountains more and more and more, I realized this bike is probably a little bit too long for me. So
Oh,
I went with
really?
and I went with a medium, just a straight up medium. And Trek is one of these companies that has that in between sizing for it. So they
Yeah.
do offer a medium large in between the medium and the large. But being in the medium made me feel so much more comfortable. It just felt like everything fit, and I wasn't part of this like giant school bus. And the funny thing is, the difference in length is so small when you actually look at the measurements, but how it
Yeah.
felt like under me felt amazing.
I was
So
just gonna look at the wheelbase and see the differences, but we'll put all the specs of everything in there for people that are on the,
yeah,
like, like you, or maybe a medium large. Oh, I see. They do have like an actual medium large on their website
right.
versus like a
So
medium and a large.
the big
Interesting.
disadvantage is that the aluminum is definitely heavier.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a heavy girl to pedal up hills, and
Do
I
you
have
right?
decided I really like her. I really, really, really prefer her at parks. She's kind of my like fun, just rip it park bike.
Right,
I'm
right.
looking into doing a whole like DH build maybe at the start of next season, but she's like my do it all right now, like fun ripper. But riding at trails, a little heavy. A little
Yeah.
heavy.
We
Yeah.
should do like, I'm gonna build a DH bike too for next park season. So we should do a podcast
Mhm.
about that.
That'd be
Kind of
great.
like
No,
the
that'd be
bikes
really
we
cool.
want. The bikes I'm looking at just
How did
today.
we yeah.
How do we come, like, what made it, what solidified our decision to get those bikes, etc. And the
Right.
challenging thing is finding bikes to demo too, right? Like, even
Absolutely. That's
now
a
after
huge
COVID,
component of it.
yeah, even after COVID, but for me, because I need a small frame, that's kind of challenging. But I keep harping about Rome. In 2 weeks I'm gonna go
Yes.
demo the Revel rail, not because of Rome, but because
Yes.
I'll be in Sedona, and the Thunder Mountain Bike Shop got a small for me to demo, and
Man,
I'm really excited.
that's
But
amazing.
anyway, I digress. Back to your bike check. So everything is custom. What was like the first thing you wanted to customize on the bike? So you got the bike stock, right? Like, what was the first
Yes.
thing that you felt you needed to customize for the way that you ride?
The fork and the shock completely. I
Rear
wanted,
shock, front fork.
yep, I wanted really, really good components for my suspension. Suspension for me has given a lot of, I don't know, I'm really able to dial in how I feel in terms of changing my rebound. And I wanted a responsive suspension setup. I wanted something good. I wanted something high end.
Right.
I was, I wanted to maintain that. I was riding that high end on my carbon build, and I wasn't willing to sacrifice that on this.
I
So
mean, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I don't think you should, considering you ride pretty progressive hitting bike parks, right? Like that's your style of
I
riding
do.
for the most
Yeah,
part.
bike parks are definite, especially for this bike. That's my intended use for this bike. And yes, I had the one disadvantage of doing this big custom build is that the bike has become pretty heavy and very soft, very
Right.
squishy to pedal up hills. So while technically it is rated as like an enduro bike, I'm not going to be riding it kind of in that style. Um, but I wanted to maintain that high end quality that I had, that high end components. I wasn't ready to sacrifice that. And you know what sucked is that I had people kind of in my ear of like, you won't notice the difference, or it'll be fine if you stay with this, that,
I
or the
hate
other.
that.
I know.
Well,
And that might be well and good, but I wasn't willing to try it. I wasn't willing to
and
sacrifice it.
yeah, and that's the thing I think sometimes with bike shops. I have a bike shop I go to, they're amazing. I go to them all the time, but it's always that thing of like, well, are you really going to use it? Are you really
Right.
good? And it's like, but
Right. Like,
who are
well, do
you
you
to
need
who are you to
this? And
judge?
you're not launching yourself off of 30-foot
But
whatever. And
how do
it's like,
you know?
yeah, but
But
have you seen how I ride? Have you seen like
exactly.
what inspires me to be more confident to try bigger things or to ride better or to feel good
Yeah.
out there? Because it is so much more than this black and white of what you can expect and exactly what you're going to get out of it. Yes, all of that is completely true, but there is so much of like, okay, well, what is it? How does it feel when you're riding it? That was what was more
Right.
important for me. And
Right.
having what I did on the carbon build, I loved it. I loved so much of how I felt out there, and I wasn't going to give that up. In fact, I think I was going to make this bike better. And that's what I did.
I mean, the bike is amazing. What I'm going to try and do right now for people who may be watching, I learned how to do this today. I want to put
Fancy. Are we
up,
going to do like a
we're going to try a share the screen shenanigans over
I'm
here.
going to share my screen.
And
Fucking
we're going to
dreaded.
go to your
Oof, sorry.
Instagram.
Dreaded
We
Zoom
are
call.
going to your Instagram
Let's
page
go to Beka's Instagram.
and let's look at her amazing bike. So I
Oh,
creeped
and
on
we
this earlier
can
today. Hold on,
we can
hang
we
on,
can
hold your
talk about
horses.
the okay, I'm done. I'm sitting.
Hold
All right,
on,
I'm here.
hold
All
on.
right. The horses are held.
So this, I guess, is the bike, the photo for when you got it, right? When
Yeah,
everything
no,
was
that
finished on your
was
bike.
yes. So that was after basically like stage 1 was complete. This is
Stage
my
one. Okay.
crew of my Trek shop putting it all together for me. Getting all the main components on it that I wanted. The
Yep.
suspension, the shock, the grips, the bars.
Okay.
I've done some tweaks since then that I'm very, very, very pleased with. But that was like the core components of like, yes,
Check
before
this.
I rip on
Like,
this bike. I know, isn't she gorgeous?
what a
Bef-
beautiful shot.
and they got it ready for me before park season opened, and I ripped on it.
That's
And I,
amazing.
isn't it? It's
Look at this.
been, yeah.
Okay, you guys, if you're listening to this, you should
Woo.
go on the YouTube and check out what we're sharing on the screen, or just
Mm-hmm.
start following Becca on Instagram. Becca likes bikes, and it's Becca with a K, Baka, likes bikes.
Beka. Yeah.
And she has some amazing stuff on there. This is a killer photo right here. This is like
Isn't
a
that great?
shot that needs to be in a magazine or something. But your bike she's beautiful. She has that olive, like
So the
beautiful olive
color, the
color.
color is called
Here we go.
black olive. And what I love about it now, I was kind of like not crazy about the color at first, but I found this amazing frame keeper for the bike from
Oh yeah?
Groundkeeper Custom. Yes, I wanted to get a frame keeper because I do a lot of damage, and I found this great frame keeper from Frame Protector.
Ground so yeah, frame
From
protector. Yeah,
Ground
I got one from
Custom.
them too. Yeah.
And the color is called Cosmic Shift. So it is this like glitter overlay. It's basically clear with like this rainbow glitter overlay. I'm not really like overly a glitter person, but it brought
Yeah.
that bike to life. It brought it to bike and brought that bike to life. Once I put the new brakes on, which are the Magura's MT7 Pros, once I did that, Got the new pedals on it, the PNW Loam pedals. That was like, that was it.
Ooh,
That
I
was it.
wanted to ask you about that because you sent me the specs of
Mhm.
your bike today, and I saw that you have those new PNW Loan pedals on there. So, okay, before you were riding the Loams, what were you riding? What were the pedals
I
you had
was
on before?
I was riding the One Up. I
Okay,
can't
one
think of.
ups. So they're kind of similar,
Yeah, they are very similar. I want a large, these are platform pedals. So
right?
flats. I wanted a large platform with like aggressive pins. And when I'm riding parks, I'm in pants. I'm not risking it. I'm not tearing open my shins.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, why would
so I
you?
wanted a large platform base with more of a concave to it to really kind
Mm-hmm.
of grip the foot in there when you're digging into your pedals.
Yep.
And I read up a lot about it, and there's a lot of amazing pedals out there. Everyone's kind of got their opinion. God, if you really want to argue with people, argue about brakes. Holy, oh my God.
Yeah, you can go down a
Everything
rabbit
is
hole.
wrong. Everything is wrong about brakes. It
Oh,
doesn't matter what you pick. Someone's going to tell you why you're wrong. It doesn't matter. Find what feels the
yeah.
best for you. But
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of the same with pedals. A lot of people that love the One Up, a lot of people that, oh, that broke the spindle, da, da, da. What did it for me was one of the spindles was kind of, it really wasn't giving me as much give. And instead of troubleshooting it, I just decided to be mature and buy a new pair. And I bought, I bought
I love
the,
that. I'm gonna tell my wife that. That's what we say all the
I,
time.
yes,
Just buy new
right.
ones. Who cares?
So I bought the PNW Loam. I have the PNW grips, which I love. Love
Yep.
the PNW grips, the Loam grips. So the aluminum Loam pedals were new, and I bought them in. I think it's platinum or nickel. I'm not sure. That just like bright polished silver. So far,
Yeah.
I absolutely love them. Absolutely love them.
I
They've been
think they are new.
amazing.
What, like some they came out in the summer, I want to say, like
Yeah,
early
yeah, they are pretty
spring or
new.
something. Yeah.
Yep. And my friend
Okay.
Teresa has since bought them, and I think she's really liking them
She
too.
likes them. I have the
Yeah.
Stamp Sevens on right now. Maybe I'll try those. The Stamp Sevens have been good. I've
Hmm.
got hit in the shin with them before, and that was not pleasant.
It sucks. I've gotten hit in the back of the calf before,
So,
back of the ankle, and it's like this, like, that's gonna hurt. It's
girl,
gonna suck.
yeah, that's gonna suck.
No,
All
no.
right, so let me read off a little bit here, the list of the components you have on your
Hmm.
bike, and then you can jump in or correct me if I said something incorrect. So in the rear shock, you're rocking some RockShox Super Deluxe Ultimate with 160 mil of travel.
Isn't that a
In the
nice
front,
mouthful? Like they couldn't
yeah,
add another
right?
adjective. They could not
RockShox
find
Super
one
Deluxe Ultimate.
more. Could not find one more adjective to add that
Oh
it was
shit,
like the.
my light again. I'm just gonna put this thing down here. It's like the second time this
Did
has
your
happened to
light
me.
just like yeet itself off the?
My light just went kaboof straight down onto the whatever. Look,
Oh,
it's
that's
just like,
great.
it's stupid. Can I put it there?
Only the best here at Women's MTV Network. Yeah. It's
You know what?
I have the same light. It's hanging.
Goodness. Okay. And so then
Right.
you
So
have
I have the high end RockShox Super Deluxe Ultimate. As many
with
adjectives
the
as they've allowed.
yes,
160. Yes.
160 mil of travel in the back,
Yep.
and you've got a fork. You have the RockShox Zeb,
Mm-hmm.
which is 170 mil in the front with those
Mm-hmm.
big boy stanchions in the front. Those things
Big
are cool.
old 38 stanchions, man.
Man,
Hell yes.
and I thought my 36s were big. When I went from a
Chicken
34 to a
legs.
36, I was like, these things are big. And then, you know what? I checked out Jared. My I like to call him my buddy Jared. He sold me a bike at Worldwide Cyclery. He put 40s on his Yeti.
Ooh.
Those suckers are
What
gigantic.
travel? Is it his downhill bike?
200.
Yeah, that's your park
I
bike. That's
think
what you're gonna get.
200 or 210. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was insane.
That's
All
what you're
right.
gonna get when you build your park bike.
Well, I'm
Get
not gonna
ready.
build a park. Mine's gonna
I
be the
will.
same, like 38 mil, like 170, maybe 160. We'll
38's
see.
good, man. I love it. The stability, I love it.
And I've
I
heard some
love it.
really good things about that Zeb. So
Yeah. Well, and they
I
have
would
two. They
love
have
to
the
try it.
select, they have the select and the ultimate, and they're very, very similar. The select is more price friendly. Mine is the ultimate, which is kind of like their higher end. But hearing a lot of great things about both of them. But yeah, I really like it. So
Yeah. And then in the drivetrain, you have a 1x12 speed Shimano XT.
I'm probably going
And
to cut that down to like a 1x7 or something because I don't use any of the top ones. I really only use like
really?
5 gears. Yeah, because I use it for a park
Dang.
bike. So I really don't need all of it. But
Yeah. That would be
that'll come
interesting when you
off.
cut that.
Yeah, because because the derailleur just all I'm doing is freaking annihilating it. It's just getting in the way. It's just one more thing for me to
Just get
ruin.
rid of him. Just chop him up.
Eliminate him from my life.
Just chop
Exactly.
him up.
So that'll go eventually.
Okay. Okay. What dropper post do you have? You
I
gave me
have
the
a
leather.
wolf. Yeah, I have a wolf tooth dropper. And that was because we had a bit of an issue finding the right spec to fit on my bars along with the brakes. And I think that was what my friend had, and it wound up costing more money than I was expecting. But hey, whatever.
Wait,
Whatever it
but
takes.
that's the dropper lever, right?
Yes, the lever,
What about
the
the
lever, correct.
post?
Um
What's your dropper post that you have?
I'd have to go back and look. I didn't put that in there. Don't put this in there because it makes me look dumb.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
No, I didn't look at the post because the post is whatever was on my 9.8 XT. The post was whatever's on my carbon build. That came stock on that. So I don't know.
We will add it, people.
I don't know.
We will
Yeah.
add it to
Oh, and my seat. I didn't put the
okay.
seat on there. The WTV
it.
Volt.
Yeah, that's what I was rocking too, and I ended up changing it.
Really? Oh, I love
Because I
it.
think I just wasn't fit on mine right. I ended up with the
Yeah.
WTB speed sheet, and my wife makes fun of me all the time for it. She's like,
Mine's
"It's
a
speed
Volt.
sheet."
Yeah,
So,
speed sheet
I
sounds
mean,
narrow.
it's not actually. It's really wide.
Really?
Want to do a Michael Scott quote right here, but I'm just not trying to make this user friendly.
I actually found my saddle from Teresa, who will be on a future episode.
Yeah, she will.
Yeah,
she's gonna be our feature rider at the end of the month.
Yes, she is. We like switched bikes just to ride back to the lot or something. I don't remember. And all I remember is sitting in her saddle and being like, "Where has this been all my life?"
But you know what? Again,
it was
amazing,
just
Michael Scott.
Right.
But you don't do a lot of sitting when you're going downhill,
No, you don't. But I don't care
as long.
But if it's comfy for me, just even when I put the post up when I'm driving back to the lot. But correct, it is not as essential as other components. But I still wanted it because it felt good. Felt like a good cloud.
I mean, a saddle is important, man. A comfortable saddle is really important.
Yeah.
So bars, you have DT Carbon Speedway.
Yes. I have carbon bars. I've been kind of getting a lot of crap for having carbon bars lately.
Why? I have
So a lot of, I don't say I'm not getting crap, but I've got carbon bars and I've got carbon wheels, and especially, I guess just with the tendency of how I ride, like they're going to explode in my face kind of thing. And I've had this conversation recently with a couple friends of watching clips of people with carbon bars. And granted, these guys are launching it. And when I launch myself, it's either intended and I'm doing great, or it's unintended and it's like, okay, but it's still not to that same, extreme level yet.
But look, you can't
compare my problem is
to others.
Right. And you're absolutely right. And that is such a huge piece of what we're trying to stay away from. And the reason that I went with them was I really, really struggle with a lot of hand vibration and arm pump and hand pain. And if your hands go numb, you have no brake modulation, you have no control. And that was one way I was willing to just make the upgrade. Again, everyone's got an opinion on it. It matters. It doesn't matter. Do this, do that. I went with it.
Like, look, everything on a mountain bike is personal. It's how personal to you. I have carbon bikes because I demoed the same carbon bike. I'm sorry. I have a carbon stem. I can't talk. Carbon bars because I demoed the same ones and they felt really nimble and it had the give that I wanted.
Yes.
The bike came with an aluminium bar, and I haven't tested them out. Maybe I should, just for comparison. But to me, it feels really, really great, and it has the nimbleness that I like and the give that I like. So, and you can't, it's your bike, and this is what it's about. It's how
Right.
you like it. It's what you like about the bike, and who cares?
Well,
It
and
doesn't.
that's all that matters, you know? And then there's an entire conversation about width of the bars.
Yes. And that's for
Have,
another
have
podcast because
fun.
we're not going
Exactly. Have
technical today.
fun. Have fun getting into that and being told why you're wrong.
We are not into that.
Nope.
We are all
Nope.
about everyone's opinion counts, and it's what you enjoy, and it's your bike, and that's all that
Whatever feels
matters.
best out there. That's exactly right.
Exactly.
And this build, this gives me the inspiration, and it just makes me want to ride my best. And it makes me feel empowered. And
Exactly.
to bring in our little line here makes me feel empowered to ride. So it does. It feels right and it feels good out there. And
And
whatever
that's
I
what you
want to
want.
attribute that to, exactly. That's what I want. That's what I want. And
That's
that's what
what
I
you want
have.
out of a bike. You want to grab your
Yep.
bike and be like, I want to go ride my bike today. And not be like,
Yes.
ugh, it made me feel so bad last time. You want to
Right.
be like, I want to ride my bike.
Exactly. Yes.
So we talked about, you got some PNW Loam grips and
Yep.
pedals, which is awesome. And then what kind of tires are you running on them? Do you know what tires you're
Yeah,
running
I'm
on them?
riding oh man, I can't think of it. They're Bontrager, they're the carbon. I can't think of the name of them, but they're
Oh,
the carbon line that Bontrager runs on their kind of higher end builds.
that's right. You
And
sent me. You sent me that.
yeah. And again, a lot of people, oh, you're going to break them, you're going to crash them, you're going to whatever. I know that I do have a pretty good warranty on those. I haven't had any issues so far. And you know
That's
what?
good.
Let's see what happens, you know?
No, but what I mean, like, is the tire, like the tread. Do you know what you have on them?
Oh, I know what I have on my tires. Yes, I'm doing a 2.6 and 2.4. And right now I
Nice.
am on Bontrager. I can't think of the exact name. It's like it has a lot of sidewall protection. They're tubeless, they're
Mm-hmm.
thicker, and so they're heavier. So the more sidewall protection you're going to have, the heavier your bike is going to be.
Absolutely.
For me, sidewall protection is important just for what I'm riding. Pennsylvania, East Coast is known for so much loose shale, so many rocks. I really, really wanted that sidewall protection. So I am rocking those. The tread is getting very, very low. I am going to wind up going with, but we're getting towards the end of the season.
I
So I'm
mean,
going to go,
exactly.
right. So I'm going to wind up doing like a Maxxis DHF, DHR, built combo with that. But I want to keep it. I have a 2.6 in the front and a 2.4 in the back. And I love that combo. Having the narrow in the back gives me so much fun, so much playfulness with the bike. I have noticed that so much that I absolutely love to rip that around.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and I've also, oh, and I have Cush Core, which has been wonderful. Because even if you do wind up getting a flat, you don't really have a flat. It's great.
That's right.
And it has cut down on so much chatter on the trails, so much bounce. I do wind up finding that I like to run with a slower rebound and a little bit less tire pressure in the rear tire. It
Oh,
gives me
really?
a lot of, when I'm not, especially when I'm going to do some fun kind of throw the bike around stuff. I've really liked it. It's
That's
kind
awesome.
of fun to dig into the corners and just like dirt stuff around. So
That's so cool that you're able to really get your bike dialed like the way
yeah,
you want it, right? Like sometimes it takes a while for
absolutely.
people to do that. So here's a question then. When you were building the bike and it was done, you said what, a few months ago it was finished to
Mhm.
the specs that you want. Did you end up having to get it fitted again, or did you just have a fit like when you first got the bike? I don't know,
No, I
8,
didn't. I
7 months ago?
think we definitely set up the PSI for the front and the rear. I have felt great with that. I've felt like my sag is set correctly. Everything is doing great. I haven't maxed it out. Only thing that I have really fine tuned is my rebound on the two of them. And that's more just kind of preference of what makes you feel the best out there and what makes you feel the most confident. I'm not
Right.
racing. I'm out there having fun. I like a
Yeah.
slower rebound. A faster rebound just it gives too much play back and too much force back for me. So
Mhm.
I've enjoyed really kind of learning what that felt like for me. And having the cush core was learning that my rear tire pressure was actually way too low and it wasn't on
Yeah.
purpose. But I was safe to ride down without, I took it easy without really causing damage to my rim or my anything. And I was like, wow, this is actually kind of fun. Kind of dialed in that I like a lower tire pressure. So
Well, that's pretty cool.
it's been
So
great. Yeah.
just to kind of go back a little bit, so what is the type of terrain? Because you did mention that over there in Pennsylvania, sometimes there's shale or whatnot. So for this bike that you have, for the Trek slash 7, what is the
Yes.
main terrain that you ride in?
I am most so PA is known for loose shale and rocks. We're not
Okay.
exactly known for the greatest dirt. People will say, "Oh, what dirt? There's not dirt in PA. It's all shale." Whatever. I don't care. People want to hate. I have fun ripping around on
Fair
it
enough.
out here. Yes, some parts it's very very easy to wash out and careen off into the future, but it's looser. It's definitely looser. It's less packed dirt.
Yeah.
Very rocky and dry. Very, very dry.
Okay.
So
So
I'm trying to
then,
find that combination of what works best for dry, loose, and rocky.
and it seems like you got it though, especially with those tires, because it's very versatile. When you have 2.6 in the front, it can
Yeah,
take anything. It can roll over anything, and it
exactly.
can take on dirt, even if it's loose, like kitty litter stuff at the same time. So
Right. And
with all
I've
of the
really liked that. I have really liked that. So people have tried to say, like, oh, because some of the stuff I was looking at was only in stock in a 2.5. And they're like, oh, it's only 1 millimeter. You're not going to notice. But we're also talking diameter, and diameter is not the same as just adding,
right.
and the difference exists for a reason. So don't settle,
Yeah.
like
I
get
mean, do
get
the
what
bike
you
you
know is
want.
gonna exactly. If you
Yeah.
know that's what you want, don't settle and then talk yourself into it because someone says, oh, you won't notice the difference. How do you know what I'm gonna notice?
Exactly. And that's actually really good. It segues into what I was going to ask you, into what advice you would give to someone who wants to build a custom project. Like, what advice would you give to someone who's building a custom bike?
I wish I knew what that magic piece of advice was. It took me a lot of kind of learning and figuring it out the hard way of what I was looking for, of kind of riding on a lot of the wrong things. So, my advice would be if you think you are in the market for something different and you think you are looking for a next step in a different direction, is try to find ways to try it out. Um, Try to find opportunities to ride other people's bikes to get an idea of what the change is going to offer you in terms of the range, in terms of the
Right.
dynamic.
Yep.
Because for me, I did settle in some aspects in terms of the trail capacity, which I plan on addressing by getting a hardtail. But I did sacrifice that because what I wanted was to rip around at the parks, and that's what
Yeah.
I got. But it took a lot of thinking I could have it all with one bike, of having my trail bike and my park ripper. I found out that I can't. That cost me a
Yeah.
lot of money to learn. But that's my only suggestion, is try to kind of think of what your intended use is going to be for that bike. What do you want to do the most with it? What are you willing to sacrifice? What do you want more from it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
That's
kind of
really good
gotten me to where
advice.
I am.
Yeah. That's good advice, is figuring out what you're writing the most and then going from there.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's really good. And so I wanted to kind of just go over a little bit here. The Trek website has some really cool features. Did you go on Trek's website at all when you were looking for a bike? Like, or
I
did you kind of rely
did.
on the shop?
I did. No, I did look at some points, especially like when I started at this process of moving over to Trek. I was on a Specialized before this, and I had a great experience on that. And this was kind of right at the height of the pandemic when nothing was in stock anywhere, couldn't find anything. I was working with my other local bike shop. I couldn't find anything. And when I found that there were these Trek bikes in stock, um, I made the decision to go and look at those. So the website was very, very helpful. The Every truck shop I've been to has been really great. I know everyone's got their thoughts and opinions or whatever their experience was, which is always valid. But
Yeah.
once I dialed in my experience at my local shop, who the guy that's helped me out there is my friend Mike. We now ride and rip together, and I consider him a close friend. He has helped me out immensely with what I've learned and building this bike. Kind of, I haven't really built it, they have, but learning along with them.
Yeah.
they were all very, very willing to allow me to be part of that process.
That's
And
awesome.
I thought that was awesome,
Yeah.
feel empowered with the knowledge that someone's willing to give you if
Yeah.
that's something that you want.
Yeah.
And they were kind of willing to, entertain my questions that maybe I thought were dumb or I didn't know. And they always just made me feel really, really great about going back out there with what I learned.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So it
there's no
was
such
great.
thing as a stupid question. You got to learn, you got
Very
to ask.
true.
Everyone's
Very
got it
true.
somewhere. People might think it's a stupid question, but it's always like, well, I don't know this. Can you explain to me why this matters or why
Right.
it's this or
Right.
why. I think it's
Yes.
it's really important to ask. I love your bike. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I
I
cannot
do
wait
too.
to maybe
I
next
do
year
too.
we can ride together. It's gonna be
We
great. I want to
will.
come
We
out there.
will. It will happen. It will happen. She's
Yeah, I want to come
beautiful. I
out there.
love her. I'm taking her to Thunder Mountain this weekend. Amazing.
You're
Amazing.
always
It's
on
going to
that
be
thing.
so
You always
good.
have some amazing good times on that thing.
Heck yeah, I do. Heck
Um,
yeah, I do.
so we're gonna do a post on the website with all of the things that Beka has on her bike. Like we're gonna have a full breakdown of her components, how she put it together, and then please reach out to her if you have any questions. Like I'm gonna put all the links how
Mm-hmm.
you can get a hold of Beka as well on there. And she not only built this amazing bike, she's helping us here at the Women's MTB Network. She's pretty much like helping me with everything, which is amazing. So I
I
love her
love
for that.
it. This is my
And
home. I love it. I'm here for it all.
yes, and she's also gotten a, I don't know if it's called a sponsorship. What is it, from Hand Up Gloves? What is it
I'm
called?
a brand ambassador. I'm a brand ambassador
Brand
with Hand Up
ambassador.
Gloves.
Thank you for
Yes.
Hand Up, which is
Yes.
amazing. Those gloves that
Yeah.
you got are super cool. The ones that say like ride fast, be chill. Like
I love them. I love
they're
them.
so cool. They're so
They've been
cool.
a really they're a really, really cool company. I really liked what they stand for and how they represent themselves. That's far more important to me than trying to get perks. I just want to
Yeah.
align myself with companies that I identify with. So
Yeah.
that's been exciting so far for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for sticking around. If you did to the end of the podcast, please reach out to Beka if you have any questions. And if you want to be a part of the podcast or do your own bike check, how you got your bike, the experiences you had, email us, hit me up on Instagram or send us an email, mia@womensmtbnetwork.com, and let's get your perspective on there. So for now, have a great night, Beka. And
You
thank you for
too,
being on.
Mia. Thank you for
Catch up
having
soon.
me. All right.
See
See
ya.
ya.